Welcome to my first ever one of these videos. I'm actually really excited to do this because I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I'm really excited to start today. If you don't know me, my name is Lauren. I love books, as you can tell, and I decided that since I have picked up reading again and I've finally gotten back into it, I want to do these monthly book updates of what I've read, what they're about, whether or not you should read them. I want to give full disclosure right now that every book I read, I'm never going to give a negative review about. I'm not going to rank it 5 stars or 2 stars. I believe that every author works their ass off to put a book out, and regardless of what book it is, there's somebody out there in the world who's going to want to read it. So I will simply tell you what all of these books are about that I read this month, and if it's something you're interested in, go ahead and pick it up and read it. That being said, when I read, I tend to jump genre to genre. I'm really trying to expand my taste, so don't watch this video thinking it's just gonna be romantasy or popular book talk books. A lot of it is popular book talk books, so I'm gonna be fully transparent there. But a lot of them are books that I've picked off the shelf and I'm like, yummy. That being said, if you do want to see more bookish content, I absolutely recommend you check out my TikTok. I'll have it linked down below. There will be a shorter version of this video on TikTok as well. So, yeah! I read a lot of books. I'm gonna go over them. They're not gonna be in any particular order. I'm just gonna literally pick off the top of the stack, and that's what we're gonna pick up with. I'm gonna be right here. Is that cute? It's good enough. We're gonna start with Stephanie Garber. I have her other books right here as well, but we're gonna start with her other series, which is ta-da! A Curse of a Broken Heart. Woo! Is that what it's called? Once Upon a Broken Heart. Woo! I started these at the beginning of October. I actually started with Caraval first. They kind of take place in the same-ish universe, I want to say, time period. Genre is romantasy, of course. These honestly were such good books. They probably take place as one of my favorite book series I've ever read. I don't know why, I'm just a sucker for all of it. Okay, all of it. I feel like what a lot of fantasy books do right now is they don't include fantasy elements, you know what I mean? Where it's if we're gonna live in a fantasy world, give me goblins, give me that shit. Give me witches, give me unicorns, give me these random ass shit that comes with being in a fantasy world. I feel like so many fantasy genres will focus on typically on fae, but there's so many other fantasy characters, and it's show me all the fantasy, and this shows you a big ass chunk of fantasy. I loved this book series. I thought it was really well done. I love Eva. I love how distinct this author can make personalities. I'm gonna give you a little bit about what it's about without spoiling it in case you want to pick it up. I'm realizing I have the second book in front. This is the first book. This is the order of it, first, second, last. I would recommend, if you are picking up this book series, it is a romantasy, start with Caraval. I would absolutely start with Caraval because a character in this book originally is from this book series, so it'll have a lot more context and backstory. If you start with this one first, Caraval's fine. It's not going to make really much of a difference, but I would recommend it as the reading order. What Once Upon a Broken Heart is about is a young girl named Evangeline. I love that name, by the way. Her parents went bye-bye. They are dead. Unrelated. She fell in love with this man, however this man left her to marry her stepsister, I think? Yeah, her stepsister. It's fucking weird. She's convinced her lover, his name is Luke, is under a spell, and that's what made him fall in love with her stepsister. So she goes to this church where she prays to the Fate, the Prince of Hearts. Fates are kind of like gods, but also not like gods, but they're just think of them like God. And the Prince of Hearts is known for unrequited love, for broken hearts. He can't kiss anyone without his kiss killing them. Unless they're his true love, quote unquote, which we find out later on might have a little more to it. So this whole book series is a romantasy between Eva and the Prince of Hearts. His name is Jax. I love him. He's probably one of my favorite male main characters, right next to Aaron Warner. I'm not gonna lie to you. It has really good fantasy elements. The characters are all super funny. What I also said before is I love how distinct each character is. The author has a personality down for these characters. Eva is never going to act like Jax. Jax is never going to act like Eva. I feel like so many authors are trying to make characters sarcastic and witty, and they try to put that in each and every character, and that's not what you need to do in some book series, and she fucking nails it in A Curse of a Broken Heart. I meant Once Upon a Broken Heart. Holy shit. I'm a little tired. Caraval! This is another book series by Stephanie Garber. This is once again the reading order. You're going to start with Caraval, you're going to end with Spectacular. Spectacular is a novella that recently just came out. It came out like a couple weeks ago. It's holiday themed for Christmas. It has art in it. It's honestly, it's really, really, really gorgeous. I really recommend you read it. Caraval! It's actually the first book series that I read this October. And I want to say, Caraval probably comes in a really close second for one of my favorite book series that I've also read as well. You know? I know I just said that for the other one, but this one was good too, guys. I swear. This one was darn tootly dandy. This is another romantic-y kind of fantasy romance, but I will say, I think it focuses more on atmospheric fantasy, on kind of like a mystery kind of. I don't want to chalk it up to just romantasy because honestly, I don't feel like romance is the whole plot, and I think that's pretty cool. It's definitely not a subplot. It's definitely a big part of the plot, but it's not the entire plot. You know what I mean? This takes place across two POVs, Scarlett and Donatella Dragna. They are sisters, and that is actually really important because that is what makes this series for me, is I feel like Stephanie wrote a sibling relationship so beautifully, and I feel like it's a really hard thing to accomplish, especially for only children. You ever pick up a book, like I have 3 siblings, you ever pick up a book and it was written by someone who's an only child, and you can tell it was written by, you know what I mean? You could tell, you're like, what the fuck? The first book is definitely just Scarlett's POV. The rest of the series takes place pretty much in Donatella's POV. And the plot of Caraval that carries into every book is they live in this world where there is no magic. There is magic, but they live in a section where there is no magic. And the sisters get invited to play in this annual game. It's kind of like a carnival, but it's not a carnival. Get it, Caraval? Get it? And basically every year there is a week-long like little thing that you go to, and it's full of mysteries. You have to solve a mystery every year, but this year it was different. What you end up walking into is the game master's world. His name is Legend, and he uses his magic. He's one of the only people with magic to create this like whole new world, this new town, these people, this whole different reality that you step into. And when you step inside of it, you are then part of a game. You can either be a spectator or you can be a player. And if you win, what you win is a wish. So you win a wish every time you win the game. Usually people don't win, and the few people who do win don't really wish for good things, you know? I think that was a plot point. Dude, this is like the most unreliable bookstores you can get your fucking information from, man. I will warn you, everything is a fucking plot twist, okay? There is nothing you can trust in this book series because it will be turned around in the next fucking chapter, okay? We're gonna do A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I have the other book at the bottom of the pile over here. This was not the book I read this month. I just picked it up because it's part of a book series. This is actually the book that I read this month. So we're gonna put this back. This is the first book in the series. It is called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It is like a murder mystery subplot romance. Not a lot of romance at all, but it is a murder mystery, thriller, horror type book series. Pip lives in a town where there was a murder a couple years ago, and it was about the disappearance of a girl named Andy Bell. Her body was never discovered. And then the murderer, Sal Singh, who apparently killed himself after confessing that he killed Andy. In the first book, Pip says, it didn't happen. And for a school project, she debunks the whole case, right? Pretty cool. She finds the murderer. I won't spoil anything, but that is what happened. She finds the murderer. She risks her life. Second book goes similar. She ended up posting online a podcast kind of thing, where she posts all her notes, all her thoughts, and it went viral. And in lieu of going viral, everybody in her town kind of sees her as this person now who, like, she kind of has like a reputation, you know what I mean? Like, everyone sees her as this person who's really smart, who can solve these cases. And what ends up happening is that a young boy named Connor, named Connor ends up coming to Pip because his brother Jamie is missing. Pip, this book, ends up solving that case as well. She reveals huge town secrets. But what I think is a really cool selling point, and it was also one of the reasons I didn't want to pick this book up, I was really scared, is the author shows Pip's path into fucking insanity, okay? When you pick up these books, the author does a really good job at making Pip human. I feel like so many books will show you a plot, and they'll put their main characters through the craziest shit, and their main characters will come out zero trauma, zero effects from what happened. Pip is not that bitch. Pip is fucking insane. So if you're into that kind of kind of thing, I absolutely, like I said, would recommend picking it up and reading it. I'm not going to spoil too much. As Good as Dead. This is the third book in the series, the third installment. I was terrified. I am terrified to pick this up. I tried starting it and I literally put it down because I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, I don't want her to be sad anymore, because she's so happy in this book, and her personality in this book is very strong, and you understand right away her morals, her beliefs, her personality perfectly. And slowly over the course of the rest of the book, she starts to lose that personality, and you start to see, uh-oh, murder, no good. The Sunken City! I really like this book series. I think it's really fucking good. This is The Sunken City by Emma V.R. Noyes? I don't know how to pronounce that. Noyes? Noyes? We're going with Noyes. Beautiful book series. Honestly, I like this book series a lot. I did not read these two in October. These are just the first two books of the series. I read the last book in the series, which is War of Shadows, for October. I read these two the month before. So we are going to set these aside. Actually, I'm going to keep them right here. But I just want to bring these out because I really think that it's important that you see where I came from, where I ended up. Once again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the plot of this. This takes place way before present time. It takes place, I don't know the exact year because I'm not like knowledgeable and shit like that. You ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean? I don't know how to pronounce it. That's the time period this takes place around, okay? So, you got a book, you got pirates, you got princesses, you got magic, you got witchcraft, you got it all put in this one fucking book series. Beautiful book series, very well done. And what sold me was the covers. I don't know if it's AI generated or not, but I thought they were really pretty, and I was like, I need to have those in my hands. I also want to say, super sweet author. She signed every book she sent me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I bought these off TikTok Shop, and she signed all of them. So, I don't know if she's still doing that, but I highly recommend you go to her account on TikTok and you check it out, because that's pretty fucking cool that she did that. Not a lot of authors will do that, and that felt really personal to me. So, thanks for doing that. So, first book, character. I also know how to pronounce the main character's name. Her name is Amare, Amare. I pronounce it Amare because that just sounded like the most correct to me, but it might be like Amare, Amari. I pronounced it Amare. Amare is on a pirate ship. What I like about her is she's kind of morally gray. She's definitely emotionally constipated is what I like to call it. She's not good at expressing her emotions, and it's because she's raised on a pirate ship with a bunch of men, and at this time period, women being on a pirate ship was considered unlucky. This is also like after the witch trials, I believe, so like anything with magic, anything with women being like intelligent or being able to read was considered like witchcraft, shit like that, right? So she's raised to like push aside any femininity. She's not allowed to be a girl. She's not allowed to be anything other than like a pirate, like no emotions, ruthless, cutthroat pirate, right? She ends up in the water somehow. I'm not gonna tell you how, but she ends up in the water. And when you are this kind of mermaid like being, it's like a mermaid, but they're not mermaids, they're people. It's called sinking. Fuck. That's what it's called. So when you have this like mermaid like actuality, like you just turn into a fish, you get gills, you get webbed hands, super cool. When you have that and you fall into the water, you go through what's sinking, aka you die, and then you're reborn kind of as like just as you were, but now you're part fish. And you live in these underwater cities, and she finds out she's princess of one of these cities. Super freaking cool. It continues like that throughout the whole book. She also finds out a lot more. I'm not going to tell you, but it does include magic. As you can see, look how cool that looks. So I would definitely be looking into that. Is The Whisper Man by Alex North. This book has sat on my bookshelf for probably like 4 years. This is a horror book. I'm going to call it horror. I'm actually going to poop really quick. I'll be right back. What the fuck? Where I was trying to branch out in my genres because I have a lot of romantasy, but I don't have a lot of thriller, horror, murder mystery. Fucking horrifying. I really wasn't expecting a good thing to come from this book because the title is The Whisper Man. You know, that sounded a little silly. It reminded me of the Bye Bye Man, and I was like, this is not gonna be really that scary. This was such a fucking disturbing book. What the fuck? I absolutely recommend you read this book if you're into horror and thriller and murder mystery, but you have to be totally prepared because it is pretty disturbing. And it's not disturbing in the, what's the spice level? It's disturbing in the, we murder children, and it's fucking terrifying. There is a little bit of romance, but it's such a little amount that I think you could attribute it to like literally like 2 pages of romance, and they don't even kiss. So I don't know. Definitely not. It's not even a subplot. It's such a little amount of romance, and it's not even a subplot. But there's a little romance in there, so I'll throw that in there. Main plot, fucking disturbing. Essentially, a man named Tom takes his son Jake to this new town after his wife dies, unaware of the town's history that it has a fucking serial killer who kills children there. The guy was caught. He was put in jail. This man is Frank Carter. He's the Whisper Man. He would lure his victims out, which are always children, by whispering their names, like outside their window or down the street. He would kidnap them, put their shirts over their face, like this, like that, and then he would beat them to death. What the fuck? So it takes place across the dad's perspective, his son's perspective, 2 detectives' perspectives, and then the murderer's perspective. So like I said, the guy gets caught. What ends up happening is that the dad moves back into this town, and the murders happen again, but it's with a different murderer this time. They're trying to figure out if he has a partner, if he had just like, is this a copycat? But it's so precise to the case, like details that weren't released about the case, like the shirts being over the head, happened to these kids. So they know whoever murdered these kids this like the second time knows who the murderer was the first time. Super cool. It really is a fucked up book. So like I said, I wouldn't read it if you're not ready for that. I'm definitely going to be checking out more of Alex North's horror books because this was so unsettling. This is one of those books where you read it and there's a pit in your fucking stomach as you read it. Definitely some triggering content, so be prepared for that. Child murder and kidnap is a really common theme in this book. So if you are not someone who can handle that, don't pick this book up. But if you are, pick it up because it is so fucking good for this genre. Genuinely such a good fucking book. I'm so glad that I read it. I'm so glad I picked it up. I'm so glad I gave it a chance. It's been sitting on my shelf forever, and I finally picked it up, and I'm like, I'm totally gonna read more of this guy's stuff because it was so fucking good. So check it out. Beware. This is the last book I read this month. It is not the last book I'm going to show you. I have the 2 more books to show you in total. The last one I read this month is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Popular on TikTok. I wanted to read it for the month of October, and my boyfriend got it for me in my boo basket, and I love him, and I'm going to marry him. Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I want to say this was another book where I was like, I don't really have high hopes for this book. And I know that sounds terrible when I say it. It does really sound terrible. The reason why I didn't have high hopes for it is because I feel like the way people were advertising it made it really lackluster. A lot of people are advertising it as spice and like sexy farmer, and I was like, I don't want to read a book that is more porn than plot. I've read books that are more porn than plot, and it wasn't bad, but I feel like the way that people advertise it really fucks a whole book up because it makes you have such low hopes for it. You know what I mean? This book was actually really good. I actually really liked it, okay? I will say, I am a sucker for a fucking romance novel. Any romance book you put it in front of me, I will consume that shit. I'll vacuum it up. I'm a fucking vacuum, motherfucker. She does not stray from what I feel like the plot is this entire book. Like, I feel like what you see on the front, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, the autumn trees, the little cat, the like cozy fall vibes, she doesn't stray from that shit. She keeps it. And I feel like lots of books will, like, not in like a bad way, but they'll like have a plot that goes over the course of like a couple months or a couple weeks. This author keeps you in fall. She keeps you in that season, and it entraps you, and it makes you have these cozy little pumpkin vibes, and I fucking loved it. Ate that shit up. I also want to say, this book was really funny. Like, I was shocked. I'm the type of person that likes like all humor I enjoy. Where it's just like the main character is just a fucking freak show, and I mean it in like she's like a weirdo, you know what I mean? Like she's a yapper for that's what I should say. She's a yammerer. She yammers on, she yaps, and never stops, right? But I really like that about her because the love interest in this book is like a whole grump, like oh, I hate everyone type personality, and I was like, oh my god, they're just so cute together. I love them so much. The plot is that our main character, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Okay, I feel like this is such an issue for me. That's her name. Her name is Jenny. It's pronounced Jeanie, which is Jean E. So I've been saying it Jeannie, but I don't know if her name is Jeannie. I think it might be Jenny. I'm gonna call her Jeannie. She inherits the Pumpkin Spice Cafe from her aunt Dot, and her book series is about how she runs it. I can't really say much else because I don't want to spoil anything. Oh, actually I can. There's a mystery about her cafe. There's weird noises. Someone keeps smashing windows and destroying her shit. And it's like they're trying to run her out of town. And the whole thing is that she's trying to stay in town. The love interest is worried she's not committed to the town. So he's like, ugh. So he's hella shaky on it. It is really good. It's really good. It's a good romance story. And what I like about romance stories is that the conflict isn't last minute. The conflict, you see it throughout the book, but it takes form kind of at the end, and then it's resolved pretty quickly. But the conflict isn't just thrown in there. It's not random. It is a fear and it is a trauma that the main love interest has had throughout the whole book. And to see it like come to life kind of was really, like, it was refreshing. It was like, oh my god, I mean, I saw this coming and I was happy I did, because it was really well written into there. You could tell that this was his issue. You could tell this is how he's working through it. You could tell this is how it shows itself, and this is how it's resolved. And I just fucking love that. They're so cute together. Really good story. Really recommend picking it up. Last book. This was another one out of my comfort zone. This is The Last Heir to Blackwood Library. Is it heir? Is it The Last Heir? Shit. Another really good book. This is another one I'd say romance is kind of a subplot in. Well, not really. Like, the whole book she has romantic interests, but they're never like the driving factor of the book. Hi, baby. This is a gothic mystery. Gothic, atmospheric, kind of, I wouldn't say fantasy because it takes place in like our real world, but it takes place in 1924. It addresses sexism pretty well too. I think it's a really interesting plot. Lots of authors will shy away from writing sexism into the book. Sunken City also really does that really well, but this one does that really well as well, where it has that sexism plot into it. What she's trying to solve is she inherits this alley. It's British, I think. So it's called an alley. It's really like a mansion kind of house. She inherits it, and there's fucking ghosts in this shit, brother. There's ghosts in this fucking house. And her library's haunted, her bedroom's haunted, it throws hairbrushes at her, it tries to fucking eat her. It's some crazy shit, and I really like it. She's solving the mystery of it. What I didn't expect was a book as oddly religious. I did not think it would be. But it does have a lot of mention of God, so if that's not something you're interested in, like Jesus and all that shit. I myself am like agnostic, so reading it was kind of like I really wasn't expecting it, but it doesn't like take over the story. The main character herself isn't a religious person, I don't think. But it's not mentioned, like God and stuff isn't mentioned throughout the entire book until the very end, and then you're like, oh, that solves the mystery is whoo. So definitely recommend checking it out. It was really fucking good. Like, it was really good. Like, I was really, really happy with it. I'm really happy I picked it up. This is another one I was worried about, but I really liked it. And the main character's name is Ivy. I forgot to say that. Her POV is Ivy's POV. So, super good. Third person. Really recommend you check it out. It's a mystery of what the fuck happened in her manor, her alley, her little alley. The magical properties of that house, all that fun stuff. So, like I said, check it out. It's really good. And I really liked it. Yeah. So that's all I got for you. That was my first ever video of books. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, let me know. If you have any books you recommend I try, absolutely let me know. And if you'd like, you can always subscribe and follow along for my journey. I am trying to become an author. I am going through, Jesus Christ. I'm going through the process of beta readers and editing, and I'm really trying to publish my first book. So if it's something you want to stick around for, absolutely stick around, because I would love to have you read it. Okay. Bye.